Okay, so today we're here with Zim Sutton, and he's going to talk to us about what's happening for his business in Barcelona. Zim has an amazing restaurant called Caravelle. Anyone who's been to Barcelona would have surely gone to their space and had the most wonderful breakfast.
Australian style breakfast.
Exactly.
Brunch.
So, and you know, like everybody else in the hospitality industry right now around the world, there's a challenge to actually come up with what's next. And these guys are on it. They've already, before they started, before we went into lockdown, we're already they're brewers of their own beer, and now they're actually coming up with their own brand, which is amazing. So we thought Zim would be a good person to talk to. So welcome, Zim. How are you?
Thanks, guys. Good. As I said earlier, probably if we'd had this interview a week ago, I would have been far more enthusiastic. But last week we opened up for takeaway because we moved into phase 0, which allows us to open up for people to order and collect food. And I think sort of doing that, we realised that it's going to be a lot tougher than we thought it would be. Obviously, still there's not a lot of people out on the streets, apart from the periods where people can exercise. I think people sort of go and do shopping, do their exercise and get back home. I know that I'm sort of the same as well. I sort of felt myself last week being at work and wanting to be back in this space. I think, you know, it's people still want to be in that safe environment. But we also had some really positive stuff last week as well. The takeaway was difficult because down in the Raval, there aren't that many residents as there are in other parts of the city, because I think a lot of the apartments have been turned into tourist apartments. And then we've got a really old community there, which have always sort of lived there. But I think our customers and clients tend to live in other zones, in other areas, so they're less likely to sort of come to us. But what we did do is we put together a load of sort of DIY kits of some of our most popular dishes, some of our hamburgers, some of our veggie burgers, and sort of taco kits as well. So you would order, and you know, this pack comes and you sort of, you know, with directions you cook it up and you have sort of a bit of a feast like you would at Caravelle. So we got that going, which was quite positive. And obviously the beer, which we were about to launch the week that we got shut down. So literally on the Monday we started to go out and see potential clients, and by sort of Thursday everyone's like, oh no, we're not buying anything because we're shutting down. So we have had to sort of pivot from producing kegs for restaurants to try and get cans made up so we can get it straight out to the people, to their households. So last week was the first week we launched that. So that was really successful and really popular. But I still sort of think that it's got to be a long road for our industry. I know everyone else is sort of feeling the same, but any sort of sense of positivity and enthusiasm has been tempered by reality, particularly for this phase.
And especially at this time of the year, because this is like, I suppose it's like for us, you know, these months are our peak time. And for you guys, you're just coming right into the peak of the start of the beginning of your season. So that must be challenging as well, from how you see your business cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of us, there was a lot of troubles last sort of, I think it was October when there were all the riots and things. And we felt that, you know, especially for some of us who rely a lot on tourism, which we do because we're right in the center, the sort of tap was turned off, you know, 2-3 months early, and we went into our winter phase in October instead of sort of December, January. So we had that long period, and everyone was sort of, you know, rubbing their hands, getting ready for it to get busy again. And then that during February wasn't happening so much because the virus was taking hold in other parts of the world, and most of our sort of Asian clients who come weren't coming. And then it's, you know, everyone was sort of starting to panic and freak out a little bit. So usually around sort of early March, it just hits, and the tourism hits Barcelona, and then obviously Easter, it's from then on, it's crazy till usually October. So I think for a lot of restaurants, we were all holding on for this particular period because it had been an exceptionally rough winter, and then that just didn't happen. So I think that will impact a lot of restaurants who were just holding on, who may have had a few more cash reserves in other years, possibly don't have as much this year. I also know a lot of people who invested a lot of money in sort of refurbs for their restaurants and stuff like that, because 2020 was going to be an awesome year for all of us. So a lot of people also don't have the cash reserves for that. So yeah, it's an interesting time, and coming back to the point of this busy period, that there aren't going to be, once we open up, there aren't going to be any tourists. There are not going to be any visitors for a long time, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's
not going to be any busy periods.
No, and we're going to have to work out different revenue streams and different business models, and I think that's what we've been working on, my partner and I, over the last sort of, I guess 4 weeks. I think we took the first 4 weeks of just sitting there going, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of like, hey, this isn't actually bad because it's quite relaxing, and there's no one calling us saying this is broken, the oven's not working, the chef hasn't turned up for work, blah, blah, blah. And so we were kind of like hanging with the kids, and it was sort of, in this sort of bubble, which I think a lot of people were, and possibly still are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what we've kind of been looking at, is working out how we can create different revenue streams for these times. And which is difficult because things change on a weekly basis as we enter different phases and different information comes out.
That's the challenge as well, is that there's really no consistency, and it's unknown waters, isn't it? So you're not quite sure where, as we spoke about earlier, you're not sure where to put your energy to make sure that that's going to have some long-term ramifications, or whether it's just a short-term band-aid or fix.
Yeah.
And is that sort of the wrong place to put your resources?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it is. It's a decision to make whether to sort of pursue these things, because they cost time, energy, and money. We're invested a lot of money into takeaway containers this last week to try and get that going. So it's just, yeah, it's adapting, and as I said, it changes each week, and not just the rules, but people's mindsets change as well. So we introduced these kits last week, which were really popular. We had a really good amount of orders, and then you sort of feel like perhaps this week people are changing their mind a little bit and thinking that phase 1 is just around the corner. So they've got their heads into thinking, well, we're going to be able to sit on terraces next week. So lockdown's behind us, terraces are in front of us, and that may not necessarily be the case. So you're kind of just sort of chasing little markets here and there, which may just dissolve in a matter of days. And the weather changes as well. Everyone's mindset changes. So it's in some ways it's kind of like, you know what, I should sit back and just, when we're onto phase 2, then we can sort of emerge. But
that's kind of hard to do that as a business owner.
It's hard because I think there's also a lot of opportunities possible as well. And you've got the options of sitting here and waiting to survive, or to sort of push forward to try to find ways through this, and they may become different businesses, or they may evolve into something else. So you've got to try and look for positives. You just sort of trying to push through all the cracks that emerge and see if you can sort of open one wide up.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that has been challenging for us as well is that we didn't go into phase 1. We're still in phase 0, which they didn't announce to us until 2 or 3 days before. So it's kind of like the rules keep changing all the time, and we're not sure what we're allowed to do or not allowed to do. So I think that's hard to plan with. Yeah,
and we can also get taken back a phase as well. If in 2 weeks' time we're getting a spike of cases, then back we go to full or partial lockdown. In which case it's worthwhile investing time and energy in getting systems set up for this particular occurrence, because the reality is it's going to happen again. And also the reality is that people's mindsets have changed. Maybe they don't want to go out to a restaurant that's got 30% capacity with all these people who are, they don't know. they've spent all these months trying to sort of keep themselves, healthy,
Yeah.
and isolated, and then maybe they don't want to go back into a place where there's someone over there or over there who they don't know.
Yeah.
One of them might be coughing or sweating, or it could just be from a date or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be,
No, I found myself walking on the street today, and this poor old man walked past me and blew his nose, and I got all like, oh, can't believe he's done that on the street. And I'm just like, Natalia, the man's allowed to blow his nose.
Yeah, it's changed. And so tell us about your kits. Tell us tell us, like, come on, tell us what it is, because we've got.
Okay, so we just sort of.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we just basically we've just put together all the ingredients of hamburgers and tacos. We've got veggie burgers and vegan burgers as well. We're sort of trying to cover everything because we've got really good vegan burgers. We use the Beyond Meat patties and have sort of put together sort of dairy-free buns that are as close to brioche hamburger buns as possible. We wanted to create an experience that you get when you eat a trashy cheeseburger, which you can't, you don't eat veggie burgers and vegan burgers, and they're wonderful, but there's also an experience missing that perhaps you're missing the that sort of hit that you get when you go and just eat something trashy. So we've got those. We've got our taco kits, which involve the sort of meat or the vegetable part, and you've got all the salsas and the guacamole, all the tortillas and all that sort of stuff. So you sort of unpack everything, and we give you instructions how to warm up the tortillas and how to sort of heat things, and you just sort of have a taco. It's fun.
It sounds like a great food experience, and I have to say, I think I've had Nat on a detox for 2 weeks, and I think what you're like, I can feel her like salivating.
Yeah.
On the
Well, I did
experience.
I was going to send you over a pack last week, but I couldn't because you guys were on detox.
Well, that's like,
I just couldn't do in this situation. I take my hats off to you for doing it.
I think it sounds amazing. Do you have like a flyer or something that we can send out to people?
We've got basically it's just all through our website, which is caravellebcn.com, and we've got all of our beers on there as well.
Tell us about the beer.
I love the packaging, by the way. Absolutely love it.
What's that?
I love the colours and the packaging.
Oh, yeah. Our designers have done a really fantastic job at Hay Studios, which is a local graphic design company. We were brewing next door in small batches for the last 3 years, but we sort of found that we couldn't keep up with demand within the restaurant, especially during the summer months. And also our equipment was very basic, so we over the last sort of 18 months, we've been looking for and building a brewery. We found a space about a year ago now and spent about sort of 9 months renovating that and installing all the equipment, which we finished in, I guess around sort of late February. So we have been producing beers through there. We've just got our 4 core beers. Most of them are, it's all sort of craft beers, so a lot of hop flavors, sort of big, bold, flavored beers. We do a sort of lager style as well for those who aren't particularly keen on the sort of new hop flavors, the tropical flavors, the citrus flavors, all that sort of stuff. So we also bought a small canning machine, which was lucky because that allows us now to be able to put everything into cans on the premises, and then just be able to get them to the restaurant and get them to people's houses. So we do sort of a couple of deliveries a week, which people order through the website. I also get on my bike sometimes as well. If we get an order that comes through that's nearby, then I'll just nip down to Caravelle and load them up and take them around. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I think like with the summer coming, everyone's going to have to adapt about how we enjoy this season. So I think your packs and your beers as a like summer pack together sounds amazing. Summer fling.
Yeah, they could be fun. We're also trying to we're also experimenting at the moment with putting some of our house cocktails into cans as well, because we've got a second can machine which is quite small and portable. So we took that down to Caravelle. So we've been making Bloody Marys in cans, so people can just come down, pick up their brunch, take their Bloody Marys away. We're making sangria. And we're also experimenting with carbonating. We've got a really wonderful wine supplier who sources all small batch wines from local producers, and they're all organic. So they try to package in sort of larger boxes that we can then transfer into kegs, carbonate them to get a nice sparkling wine, and then trying to get them into cans as well. So
God, that sounds amazing.
you know, you can just head down to the beach with a can of sparkling wine, and you know, because you see a lot of people on the beach drinking, maybe illegally, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, sort of barbecues and things like that. So we're just, you know, as I said, we're just trying to experiment because something might take hold, something might be, you know, something might work, or
Yeah.
it's just, do you know what? It's just fun. And
Yeah.
during this time, a lot of the stuff we do is just for fun. We're not going to make any money in this period.
But you're right. If you just hit the, like, you just might hit the right nerve,
Yeah,
and it'll just go. And that's what you need right now, is like just to find that new market within this community where,
yeah,
you know, it's the thing that goes. And it'll be great if anyone who's listening, or because I'll also put this on YouTube, who knows about who you know, who knows any publicists or anybody who could actually get it out there about what you're doing, because it's an amazing story. I think it'd be great for a good journalist to pick it up and run with it as well, because it gives some inspiration to other people in the world who are in the same position right now.
yeah. I think there's a lot of people I know in Barcelona, and I assume it's the same everywhere else, that are doing things like this. It's sort of, and there's lots of really sort of interesting, exciting things that people are doing, and being forced to sort of think of new ways to get their product to people. You know, you can really see it, and it's really inspiring. And also what I'm seeing is a lot of collaborations as well,
Yeah.
between different restaurants, between, you know, people of different industries that are like, you know what, again, we can't make any money, but we can do something fun that we can, because we've got this spare time now, so we can be a little bit more creative about what we're doing and packaging, because in some ways we can't make any money, so we may as well do something that's a bit fun, and it might work, it might not work.
Well, it's like, you don't normally get this time of R&D, do you?
No.
You don't normally get it because we're too busy just keeping the doors open and actually
Exactly.
keeping everyone organized and running our companies and doing what we need to do. So having this moment to like think is actually a gift in some ways, and I suppose we have to take it as that. We have to go, well, you know, we're being forced to innovate. So
absolutely, and I agree with you. I think that I think a lot more. I think a lot of people. Obviously, there is this sort of catastrophic, you know, economic thing, and there's you know, lots of people have been ill, and lots of people have lost their lives, and you know, aside from that, I think there are a lot of people who are appreciating this time with that they've got with their families, that they've got, not rushing around. Possibly don't want to go back to what they're doing. So I think that there needs to be a conversation about that on a sort of big community scale as well, rather than, okay, let's just rush to get back to what we were doing. And a lot of people are talking about this, but I haven't really seen anyone bring in ideas into, you know, how we could do this, because it's not necessarily just on a, you know, okay, well, maybe we give people a little extra money to, you know, or work 4-day weeks, but you know, what else could we do? I think there's a lot of great opportunity.
I totally am with you. I think it's like a real opportunity, and then I have to keep stopping myself as well, because, you know, we're in a habit of like, you know, doing this all the time, like, and having that mindfulness of like being able to reset and being very mindful of what that means to your own environment, the people around you, and then also the global sense of it as well. I think I agree with you. I think it's a moment in time we should all appreciate for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially time spent with family as well.
Yeah.
You know, I know as the parent of young kids, you know, they're going to remember this time, you know, as being the time that we, you know, sat in the hallway and played frisbee for hours and things like that, you know. and those sort of memories, I think, I think people will take away a lot more positivity from it than perhaps they think.
We just need some distance from it at the moment.
Yeah, probably, but also probably enjoy it and use it for what's left of it, because we are about to, I think probably it's going to get tougher from here as we all have to sort of survive on our own.
Yeah.
Because now all the safety net is going to be removed. Come June, July, and all the sort of payments and support that we've had as businesses and our people is going to be removed. So we're all going to have to work pretty hard.
Yeah, and support each other as community, I think.
And support each other.
Really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been amazing talking to you, and I'm going to put up on the site how people can get in touch with you, but also for people around the world, if they're interested in actually contacting you for any support or to give you some publicity, that'd be great as well. So
Cool.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. And Friday, we're going to have that pack and some beer.
Great. Cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care.
Right.
Ciao, bello.
See ya.
Bye.